Okay, welcome back to From Eden to Eternity. We're going to begin again with session number 7, which is Job 14 through 16. In Job 14 through 16, bad friend number 1 is back with his wrong theology today. But before Eliphaz starts talking, Job has some good things to say. He says in Job 14 and 5, man's days are determined. I have no doubt that you have heard the phrase, your days are numbered. If you have ever heard someone say that in conversation, they were probably using it as a threat. But in the grand scheme of things, that is no threat. It's a promise and a comfort. In the second half of chapter 14, Job grows melancholy while talking about his future, which makes sense given all he's been through. It's hard not to want to rush him to healing. It's hard to sit with him in his pain. In chapter 15, Eliphaz speaks again. He is falsely accusing Job, misunderstanding his heart and his motives. He thinks Job's grief is a sign that he doesn't trust God. But those two things are not mutually exclusive. After all, Jesus grieved and mourned, and he is God. It's hard to feel alone in your pain, but even harder to feel unknown in your pain. In the ESV, chapter 16 is titled, Job Replies. Miserable comforters are you. Job shoots it straight. He calls them out for being terrible friends. In 16 and 3, he even begs them to be silent and to stop advising him. Shall vain words have an end? Or what emboldeth thee that thou answerest? We will be wise to think carefully about when and how we advise others. God calls us to mourn with those who mourn, not to advise those who mourn, and certainly not to condemn them for their mourning. Job has been acknowledging God's hand in all of this. He recognized that God plays a role in what's happening to him. But in 16 and 7, he begins to attribute the harm to God and to doubt his goodness. He believes God hates him. He blames God for all the things Satan did. If you are in a dark place, the book of Job is probably serving as a comfort to you. But if you are not in a dark place, I advise you to be patient with Job. Don't engage with Job's story the same way his friends did. They wanted him to repent or change so that they could get on with things. Suffering always lasts longer than we want it to. But sitting in someone else's suffering with them teaches us patience and compassion. And those are certainly the kinds of things we want others to display toward us when we are struggling. Here's today's God snapshot. God, not the enemy, is sovereign over our lifespan. This should serve as a great comfort because God is trustworthy. Job recognizes that God is sovereign over his life and his family members' deaths. We have seen God's sovereignty over many things these past lessons. And it is fitting that we notice all these separate areas because sovereign really means that God is the supreme authority over all things, that everything is under his control. Notice if and when it feels offensive to you that he's in charge. Where do you want to be God of your own life? Where do you feel like he is infringing on your rights with his sovereignty? Take some time this week to read Job 14 through 16 and ponder on these questions. So until next time, be blessed.